Big Boys Neighborhood. All righty now. It is a pleasure to have this man in the neighborhood, ladies and gentlemen. That is Jay Prince. How you doing, Jay Prince?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we here, man. Welcome to the neighborhood, bro.
Hey, man, good to be here.
I waited a lifetime for this one, man. You know what I'm saying? This is not only gonna be an interview, but this is damn near gonna be like a Jay Prince Talks.
Hey.
You know what I'm saying? Not a TED Talks, but a Prince Talks. And we're gonna be taking notes. And by the time you leave out of here, man, we're going to look at this in a time capsule, and next year, I'm pretty sure all of us will be doing better. If not all of them, I know I will, because I'm paying attention. All righty, first off, we got to talk about, man, just why put your story into a book? Why share the art and science of respect?
Well, everywhere I go, I get the question, how you done this? How you accomplished this? When, what, where, how? So, I felt that, it was perfect timing to put it in a book, share my wisdom, my knowledge, my understanding for those who want to know. Mm-hmm. And I wouldn't want to cross over to the other side with all of this
information.
Wisdom.
Yeah, man, wisdom. Hell yeah. And I'm pretty sure, Jay Prince, that you've had these kind of conversations with so many, either one-on-one or, you know what I'm saying? But you couldn't talk to everybody. So it is good to put it in a book. Were you hesitant at first?
Well, I'm still hesitant to a certain extent, but I put all that I could. You know what I mean? Some things I saved for the movie.
I heard that. Will you do a movie?
Yeah, definitely.
Now, when you sit down to actually write a book, and you do have a story to tell, who were you trying to reach?
Well, first of all, I just wanted to reveal the truth. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And the story is my biography about me. Mm-hmm. So I feel like I'm rooted to the extent where I reach those first where I'm from who can identify with me. So, that's my foundation, the ghettos all around the world.
Let me ask you, with you being in a position like, for one, we know Jay Prince. We know the name. We know a lot of the accomplishments, not all of them. But you've never been like, oh, I got to do this show tomorrow, and I got to get on Big Boy and the Breakfast Club and Sway, and you know what I'm saying? You've never been that vocal. Is it now not uncomfortable, but is it a different place where it's like, damn, I got to go, I put this book together, so now I got to go talk about it?
Yeah, I haven't talked so much in my life.
Yeah, yeah, man.
I always try to be what I considered a quiet storm in the industry. But this is a different time. It's a different day. Mm-hmm. And I don't mind talking about it right now.
Would the book have been different 10 years ago?
Well, of course, because some of the things I speak about today hadn't existed 10 years ago. So most definitely.
Let me ask you this, man. Like there's a believe in yourself. And we always say, oh, you got to believe in yourself. You got to believe in yourself. But there was a story in the book that kind of kicked it off for me. And then chapters later, it was a reveal. But as much as you can, the closet story. Yeah. Can you explain just yourself in your closet at your home and what you were going through at that time?
Yeah. In that closet, all of my life, I've been a praying man, as far as I can remember. And, when I hit the streets, one of my prayers was, Lord, before you take my freedom or take my life, give me a sign. Mm-hmm. And I had gotten that sign, when I went to that closet. And basically it was a one-on-one conversation with me and God in that closet. I'm like, I want to be blessed. I want the same type of money, the same type of lifestyle. I'm speaking to God just like this.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because I know I'm at a turning point in my life, and now I'm thinking longevity. Mm-hmm. So it was in that closet where the transition took place from the streets to corporate America.
And you already had things that the average person would have been satisfied with.
Oh, most definitely. Most definitely. The average person, but what I didn't have was peace. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And that I wanted. I wanted longevity. I wanted peace. You know what I mean? I wanted to be there for my family, my kids.
So what did that mean, Jay Prince, when you say, I'm in this closet, I'm having this conversation, and if you're talking with God, it's like, I'm ready to give it all up?
Yeah, most definitely. And it was one of the hardest decisions I made in my life, because you can imagine walking away from all the luxuries, all what you think is what you wanted, but my fate overcame all of that.
Now, materialistically, what was it? Cars, home?
Yeah, cars, home, money, You know what I mean? All the things that we want in life.
When you walk out the closet and you say, I'm done, what's your next step when you say, you know what, I had this conversation and I'm done?
Well, my next step was
because I would have went back in the closet.
Yeah.
Well, just kidding.
Yeah, you don't know.
No, my next step was to execute a plan. You know what I mean? I knew at that point I had to apply that same hustle that I had been applying in the street in corporate America. And that was a relentless hustle I had. So I had to apply that to the music game. And so that was my next step, you know.
Had you been a part of the music game?
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, but from a distance. I was doing it for somebody else. And at that point, you know, I realized, I said, well, this is $1 million playing field, a music game. So why not apply my talents on $1 million playing field?
But in the book, you also said like that rap is lame. You know what I'm saying? Like, what exactly did you mean by that?
Well, what I meant was when I made that transition, I was amongst squares. You know, what I consider squares at the time. You know what I mean? From coming from the jungle to civilization, you know what I mean? I considered them squares because of their mentality and where I had came from. So that's the part that I meant by lame.
We see now when we rewind, we see how lucrative the music business can be. You know, not just cutthroat, but we see it. And one of the blueprints is Rap-A-Lot Records. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people say, man, I want to own this, I want to do this, but there was no Rap-A-Lot Records that you could attach yourself to and say, man, I want to make sure that my deal is right. I want to make sure that I represent the soil that I come from. You know what I'm saying? Like, we could look at you as a blueprint, but who was your blueprint? Was it like Motown? What was that blueprint for you?
I think my blueprint was my street mentality. You know what I mean? And I feel like guys from the street are some of the most brilliant people in the world. You know what I mean? If they apply that hustle in corporate America. And, you know, that's all I could credit it to. You know what I mean? I was self-made there. You know what I mean? I had my own movement, and I wasn't trying to hear, you know, a lot of things from the different CEOs about giving them 90 or 80% of my company.
Man, y'all stick around your radios. We got Jay Prince in the neighborhood. We're going to come back, man, and I do want to start to get into Rap-A-Lot Records. Yeah. All righty, Jay Prince in the neighborhood, Big Boys neighborhood. Boy. Let him go ahead. He going to start telling somebody, man, go on, give me. What was that old girl got for me? You know, here, take a picture of this. Let me see what this is right here. Here we go. 3, 2, can you hand that over to the brother? Take the label off. 3, 2, 1. Big Boys neighborhood. Jay Prince in the neighborhood, man. And when we think about Jay Prince, man, respect is one thing that a lot of people do have for you, man. And also the respect in your hustle. And I did want to speak about Rap-A-Lot Records. Now, putting together something called Rap-A-Lot Records, what was your game plan for that?
Well, in the beginning, it was for my brother. My brother, his name was Sir Rap-A-Lot.
Yeah.
So, you know, my thing was I didn't want my brother in the streets. You know what I mean? My brother was what I considered a square. And I didn't want him in the streets. So I'm like, hey, I'll support you in this rap thing. You know what I mean? I name it Rap-A-Lot. Go do your thing. You got my support. And ultimately, my brother ended up, you know, going to get like a 20-some year sentence. And the other 2 guys was left, and I couldn't leave them stuck out. So, you know, I continued with them.
So when you start to think, all right, I got something here, when is there a turn? And I don't mean like Ghetto Boys, that turn. When do you think, all right, I got these members who's not probably the members that everybody know from Ghetto Boys. What was the early Ghetto Boys and early Rap-A-Lot Records?
Well, the early Ghetto Boys was Raheem and Jukebox and my brother. Now, the turning point came when I made that transition and went to New York because I had moved the company to New York. And I went out there.
You thought that was the place it should be at that time? You and your...
That's what they thought. Yeah. You know what I mean?
We got to be in New York.
Yeah. That's what they thought. And after going to New York a couple weeks, I then realized, I said, oh, y'all following New Yorkers. You know what I mean? I had opportunity to spend time with Leo Cohen and all of those guys, you know, looking at checks, LL Cool J checks, Houdini checks, and, you know, I got stimulated and motivated. I'm like, okay, so y'all trying to follow somebody else. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to load this bus up and go back to Houston and be ourselves. And I say, what I want y'all to do at this point is I'm gonna write these rhymes. I'm gonna give you the stories.
So
y'all
when you
make them
say
rhyme.
you were right. Oh, okay. So you were saying this is kind of my life. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Put this in bars, or you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I realized that they were perpetrating. Right.
Right.
So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna give y'all some good stories. Make them rhyme for me. And that's when we hit a brick wall because they told me, say, you too deep. And that's when I got rid of the old set of Ghetto Boys and replaced them with Bushwick, Willie D, and Scarface.
Man, now when we fast forward to a Bushwick, Willie D, and Scarface, when you kind of put that together, did you know that you were putting together something that was historical?
Yeah, well, what I was looking for was I had 3 different personalities. You know what I mean? These guys didn't know one another. And it was important to me to have like images, different images and different personalities for each member. And you know, Willie D, I had to, you know, I don't give a damn type of mentality with Scarface. You know, he imitating the drug dealer Scarface. Bushwick, just a clown. And you know, those good ingredients for me.
How did you find, or how did the relationship with Willie D start?
Willie D was introduced to me from my barber at the barbershop in 5th Ward. Scarface, I walked up on Scarface leaving a club one night. A DJ by the name of Steve Funya, he was playing his music for him, and I just walked up on him and I heard it, and I took him with me. We went and ate breakfast at like 6 in the morning. And Bushwick, I met him in a club as well.
Now, when we get to what we know, the early Ghetto Boys, and grip it on that other level, which was like, I remember driving up to the Bay Area with a cassette, listening over and over and over. Like, when did you, for one, did you just want to make sure that you were good at home first in Houston, or were you always saying, I need to make this regional? I mean, not regional. I need to make this national and international.
Yeah, I was I was targeting ghettos all over the world. That's why I named the group the Ghetto Boys, because I wanted to be a voice for ghettos all over the world. You know, Houston is probably they embraced us later on. Chicago embraced our movement before anybody. So I was definitely, you know, targeting just ghettos all over the world.
Did people think that it was too much?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, most definitely. Every major record label at the time, you know, wouldn't even entertain the idea of embracing us. You know, New York booed us when we performed out there in New York. So they wasn't ready for it.
When you hear like Mind of a Lunatic, or, you know, just and not even just the titles, you know what I'm saying? When you would go into the lyrics, but for some reason, we kind of lean towards that.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, if you think about it, David Geffen released Rick Rubin because of Assassin.
Yeah.
The song Assassin. When in reality, he was releasing, you know, all the heavy metal artists that was, you know, speaking even worse.
Yeah, man. Yeah. But it's, and that's what I say all the time. If we rapped what we saw in movies, like the Terminator, it'd be one of the most violent raps that you would hear.
Right.
You know, but we get looked at kind of a different way. But that puts you in a position where you start to get with the right people and you start to get the right ownership, because you were never going to compromise what you felt you wanted the Ghetto Boys and Rap-A-Lot Records to be, correct?
Yeah, no, I couldn't do that. Wasn't no compromising, negotiating nowhere on the table where that was concerned. You know, I knew I had to keep ownership of my master's publishing, and from there, you know, I just wasn't trying to hear anything that compromised that position.
What were you trying to do early on when, because I'm pretty sure you, like you said, it couldn't have been a lot of venues. It couldn't have been a lot of radio support. Did you ever think about bending just a little bit?
Well, one of my things was, you know, I didn't have radio, didn't have video, but what we had was publicity. And I had a lady here named Phyllis Pollock in L.A. We were able to create a lot of exciting moments, controversial moments that helped us sell records.
What do you think it would have been if social media was around back then.
Oh man, it would have been heaven.
Yeah.
You know, whereas it took me 6 months to break up a record in a place, you know, the push of a button with social media would have done it.
Do you still have a relationship with the Ghetto Boys now, the ones that we do know with Bushwick, with Scarface, Willie D?
Yeah, I still have a relationship with them. Not like it used to be.
Right.
You know what I mean? I used to put them boys to sleep and wake them up. You know what I mean? The work ethic was that hard. You know, I drove them from morning to night, but it's a different day now.
You definitely can't say that we look at the success, but it definitely wasn't an overnight success.
Oh, no, man. It was, I tell everybody, you know, and I speak about it in my book, you know, the music game is a game that would run the week off.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Whereas I thought, you know, I could do these things within a year or two. You know, eventually it took me like 7 years before I started seeing a profit.
When you think about 7 years before you start seeing a profit, already walked away from being a guy that was in profit.
Yeah.
And you look at today now where it's SoundCloud or something and you see cats say, man, I've been rapping for 6 months and they got like 8 on 8 on Billboard.
Yeah, they don't know how blessed they are.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And you know, they should really cherish that moment. And I think a lot of that happened from the trailblazing that went on with me and many others. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? For them to even be able to enjoy moments like this today.
We can't be stopped. Now, I don't know if everybody is familiar, and please put this in post editing as well. But just go and bring up the album cover, Ghetto Boys, Geto Boys. Why? And also while she's looking for that, from Ghetto Ghetto to Ghetto Geto. Why from one project to the next that you guys did? Was there a name change?
Yeah, well, what we done was we done a deal with Rick Rubin at Def America, and right after the Gripping on the Other Level album, which we only put 2 new songs on the existing album, and it went gold. But you know that Ghetto Geto was a name that we own. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? The other name belonged to
like anybody could say Ghetto,
right,
but when we think of Ghetto Boys, we go right to that spelling.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, when you went from one Grip It to the next, did you start to use Bushwick just a little bit more?
We probably did, you know what I mean? Because originally Bushwick used to do a lot of performing. Mm-hmm. And, you know, I always told Bushwick, I said, you more than a performer. And, he started rapping a lot more.
So we go into We Can't Be Stopped. Now, the album cover was one of those things where America was like, what the hell? Mm-hmm. Now, leading up to that story, the album cover, what was going on with Bushwick? Now, this is the album cover, and the album cover is Scarface and Willie D, and Bushwick is on like a hospital
like
bed. Yeah, and his eye is out. Yeah. And so just like the night before, he had gotten into an incident with his queen, correct?
Right, with his girlfriend. I got a call, I think like maybe 4 a.m. or something. Bushwick had just came in and he was full of that Everclear. Mm-hmm. And he got into it with his girl. And, you know, from what I'm told is he wanted his girl to shoot him. She didn't want to shoot him, so eventually Bushwick took the baby and hung the baby out the window, you know, trying to negotiate a shooting in his head or anywhere, you know. Eventually, she reached for the baby. He had the gun, and some kind of way the gun went off and shot him in the eye.
Yeah,
so crazy.
And you go to the hospital. His eye is pretty much damn near out of his head. Whose idea was it to say, go down there, take that Band-Aid off his eye, and shoot the album cover?
Yeah, you know, I remember going down there that night, and I didn't know if the man was going to be dead or alive, you know, from what I heard. But, you know, as we went in the room with Bushwick, me and some of the other members, we made a team decision. You know what I mean? We really meant we couldn't be stopped. You know, we can't be stopped. And that was a moment where we, you know, raw and uncut, we're going to show the world we can't be stopped.
Man, like I remember when I first saw that. For one, you hear the story, and in your mind, you always wonder, man, what did that look like? What happened? Y'all were like, oh, here it is. You know, like,
man, we pushed him out of the hospital against a lot of people will. You know what I mean, and took our picture. You know, but you know he wasn't like on life support,
right.
like that. You know,
he wasn't in danger.
No,
and he agreed to it. And in the book, you said you told Willie D and Scarface, get dressed.
Yeah,
yeah, like we about to shoot this. So they come, they get dressed, and from that album, man, we get Mind Playing Tricks on Me.
Yeah,
which is like still today one of the biggest hip hop records in the world.
Right.
When they went into doing Mind Playing Tricks on Me, what was the backstory to that?
Well, you know, the backstory was I remember driving home like 2 or 3 in the morning, and my mind was playing tricks on me. And I remember having a conversation with Scarface, because Scarface, you know, this was a solo song. You know what I mean? Originally that we was going to use for Scarface.
And Scarface was every verse.
Only a piece.
Okay.
Only a piece of it. And, you know, I convinced him, you know, I said, this need to be a Ghetto Boy song.
Right, but was Mind Playing Tricks on Me, was it a Scarface record at first with just him solo on every verse?
No.
Okay,
no,
okay.
Just a piece of a song. You know, just a piece of a song that he and I, you know what I mean, evolved into the Ghetto Boy song.
Was he good with sharing it?
Yeah, you know, I made him an offer he couldn't refuse.
I heard that.
Yeah.
Did he write the entire Mind Playing Tricks song? Oh, okay.
No.
All right. When you knew that song was taking off and that the world was feeling that, how did you know? Was it radio? Was it video?
Well, I remember testing, you know, that song on a cassette tape with a DJ by the name of Jimmy Olsen. Actually, I gave him 2 songs to choose from, and he chose We Can't Be Stopped. I said, no, I want to try this one. And when he played that song, you know, the Ghetto Boys' life changed. It seemed like overnight, because the demand, the request lines, it blew up and it never stopped.
How important was it for you to put Houston on the map?
Very important. You know, I always believe home, you know, was the foundation of everything. So, you know, I fought hard for that to happen.
Because we were, you know, we'll see, like, of course, the East had things on lock. Even being from the West, it was like, you know, it was hard to get in, or hard to get respected, and a lot of our early, you know, the pioneers didn't get as much accolades as you know, some that we can bring the names up now. But we were getting on too. So when you look, it's like what about us over here? You know, and there wasn't record labels out there that were the size of a Ruthless Priority or anything that was on the East Coast.
Yeah.
You know, so what's the blueprint to making sure that people notice what's going on over here as well, besides just the hit records?
Yeah, you know, I had like a real complex about, you know, the whole Southern movement, period, you know, because I felt like we were being discriminated against. You know, the people was making fun of our accent, our sound. You know, this went on, you know, for a while. So I had like a real issue with it. And it began in Houston with DJs that was from New York.
Yeah.
They were monopolizing our airways. They were monopolizing our clubs, our sound, our movement. So I had to do something about that. And I was able to do something about it. And then I was able to influence others to follow my movement. And they done something about it, you know, state by state.
Right. But it was pretty much where, with it being monopolized by East Coast DJs, it was pretty much pack up and go back home.
Yeah,
they
definitely had to.
Yeah, he
move
definitely
around.
tried to make that sound like he was just like, he definitely tried to make it sound like he just played my record. You know what I'm saying? Like, and if you guys read the book, you'll see a couple of these conversations. You know, like I'm not gonna put too much on it, but just read the Brian Turner from Priority part of the book as well when you guys get it in your hands. The book is The Art and Science of Respect. There's one part in here, man, where it says, "Fortune favors the bold, so never be afraid to stick your neck out on your own behalf." Yeah. How true is that?
Oh, very true. You know what I mean? It all begins with a dream. You know what I mean? I always say I feel sorry for a man that doesn't dream, because it was my dream that caused, everything to happen for me. I dreamed it first, and then I executed, my faith in different things that I believed in, and that's how it all came to fruition.
Did you ever want to rap?
No, I actually rap, but I never wanted to be a rapper.
Really though?
I spit some lyrics on Damn It Feels Good to Be a Gangster.
No, but when you would see things taking off, right? Why you never sat on the sidelines like, damn, boy, I sure could have.
No, I was comfortable in my skin in the position I was in. You know what I mean? Because I had a trained mind of being under the radar. So I never wanted that fame that came along with being an artist.
What's your longevity?
Man, my longevity. What's my longevity? Joy, peace. You know what I mean? Happiness. Yeah,
what do you think kept you here this long? And I mean, we're going to skip through it, but when we think about Rap-A-Lot, Drake, Floyd Mayweather, just the boxing, all the staples, what do you think that longevity is?
Respect. Yeah, that's why I named my book The Art and Science of Respect. I think that's the foundation that I stand on. And I think I get it because I gave it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I try to wrap it around being humble with humility and just having a word.
And even people that didn't have a direct dealing with Rap-A-Lot, a lot of people still either come to you for advice, a word, whatever it is, and that could be from UGK, Pimp C, Bun B, Master P. You know what I'm saying? Like you've always been kind of a voice to people. Why lend that much wisdom to those that either you could make something or you couldn't make something off of them?
Yeah, I believe in too much given, much is required. So you know what I mean. It's like I feel it's something. Lifestyle with me. I enjoy it. You know what I mean? It brings joy to me to be able to share wisdom, to be able to give back. So it's in my heart, it's in my spirit, my soul.
Can you explain when you were ready to buy your first ranch, when you were ready to put everything into it? You had been looking for this place, man, and you were ready to buy it, and what happened?
Yeah, actually, that was my second ranch.
The second ranch. Yeah, because the other one was a little bit smaller to you.
I went from 30 acres to 1,000 acres.
The 30 acres wasn't enough.
Upgrade.
You know what I'm saying? Come to my house, you'd be like, Big, you really live here? Like, man, I need to negotiate your contract. But so when you went from the 30 acre, you were looking at the one, and there was a detour.
Yeah, I had been looking at that land. I couldn't afford it, and I had been kind of looking at it, just kind of claiming it, because I was looking for another ranch for a few months with this lady, real estate lady, and I said I want the biggest, nicest ranch that's close to Houston, and I don't care what it costs. You know what I mean? I want that ranch, and she would take me everywhere but that place, and finally, I asked her one day. I say, will you just show me how a nice ranch look, the size I want? And we drove to that place, and that's the ranch I ended up getting. But prior to that, taking that ride, I was invited. I used to go to Bible study. Me and like 60, 70 other homies would just go in and flood the church on Bible study nights on Tuesdays. And everybody just stared at us because we coming there, you know what I mean? Of course. And, me and the pastor, we had kind of established a pretty strong relationship, and he invited me to a meeting that he was having with some of the deacons and different people in the church about the blueprint on the building, the new church that they was building. It's called the Church Without Walls. So anyway, I went in the meeting, and I'm observing, it's two phases of building this church. One was the first floor, the other one was the second floor. And the first floor was like a gymnasium situation. The second floor was for the kids and, all of that kind of stuff. So as I was looking and listening to the conversation, so I asked the question. I say, well, why not build a whole church? And they're like, well, it got quiet in there, right? They said, well, that's easy for you to say, but we don't have the money to build a whole church. I say, well, how much does it cost to build a whole thing? He said, $1 million. We short $1 million. So, I then, the spirit was on me. I said, well, let's build a whole church. And it got quiet in there because he the only one really believed me, because he the only one knew me. And he said, hold up, wait a minute. Yeah, I don't think y'all heard what was just said. He said build a whole church. And at that point, he explained to them that I was serious about what I said, and they started rejoicing. And what I had just done was gave my $1 million that I had for my ranch away.
Yeah.
Wow.
By mile 3 where you like,
Y'all better come to church every Sunday.
Definitely wasn't the plan when I went in that meeting. It wasn't premeditated.
man. So
Wow,
you
that's
take the $1 million, and instead of getting what you've been looking for, what you've been working for,
Oh, my
you
gosh.
take that $1 million and you give it to the church to build their church.
Right.
And what happens full circle?
Well, a few months after, I ended up doing one of the biggest deals that I had done in the music industry with Virgin Records.
Mm-hmm.
So it came back tenfold or 20-fold. And I wasn't only able to put a down payment on that ranch, I was able to buy it.
Yeah.
Whole thing,
You
yeah.
know what I mean?
That's crazy,
Beautiful.
man.
Damn.
And that's
That is
1,000
so beautiful.
acres.
1,000+ acres.
Good Lord. And what is it
Huge.
called now?
Princess State.
As it should
to
be.
Google this.
Yeah, you're going to, man, make sure you get the satellite view of it. And I do want to fast forward a little bit to when we started kind of visualizing what this East Coast, West Coast beef was. We see that things are just kind of going crazy. And you've always been on the outskirts of anything. Like if you're going to do something, you're more personally involved, and you're going to talk on it, and it's not a public display. Now, when you seen the East Coast, West Coast beef going on, what was your take as what you were witnessing at the time before it got so crazy?
Well, I was witnessing like a lot of confusion, and I really didn't know the details on who was right or who was wrong. You know what I mean? So I was on the outside looking in, just kind of front row, just watching the.
Do you tell any of your comrades or anybody that you got a handover or a hand with in Houston, like, do you also calm them and say, man, we not in this, don't say anything, just observe from whatever distance you can?
Yeah, well, I believe it's a time and a place for everything, and if the time is appropriate, then I will speak. If it's not, I sit back and observe.
What was your relationship with Pac, Biggie, Puff? What was your relationship with them?
I consider all of them associates. You know what I mean? Me and Pac. I had saw Pac a week before he got killed. And he wanted me to go out with him and Suge that night. But my father had just came home, so I'm like, man, I got to get back home. The old man just touching down. And me and Puffy, we always been cool. And who else did you mention?
Biggie.
Oh, Biggie. Me and Biggie was cool as well. You know what I mean? In my book, I wrote about when I turned my bus around to come back and speak with Puffy and Big about what I felt, the danger of being in L.A.
Because they were shooting Hypnotized in L.A.
Yeah. I really, you know what I mean? It's almost like, it was on my spirit heavy. And I'm like, hey, man, this ain't cool. You know what I mean? I talked to Puff separately. Then I went on the bus and I spoke with Big as well. You know what I mean? Just to let them know, be careful. This ain't cool. Yeah.
And what did they say then?
Well, they felt like they were, gonna do the video, and I don't think Puff or Big really like understood the depth of, the LA streets. You know what I mean? It's, sometimes, our IQ where streets are concerned, go to a certain floor on the elevator. And, I don't think they really understood how serious that could be.
So when you do hear that Biggie got killed in Los Angeles, where were you at when you heard that information? Do you remember?
Yeah, I was in Houston. And, it was sad, but I wasn't surprised. You know what I mean? Because I kind of sensed the danger, and you know, I wish things would have happened differently.
And when we look at before Pac passed, I know you said y'all were gonna have a go out a week beforehand. Did you have any more dialogue with Tupac before he passed, and prior to that week as well?
No, I hadn't spoke with Pac prior to that week. Of course, we crossed, one another paths many times before then, but I hadn't spoke with him.
Were you concerned about or for him as well?
Oh yeah, most definitely. After Pac had got shot and hit the way he got hit, that was a concern of mine, and I knew and felt, what would follow after, the accusations and different things that transpired.
When in your book, you were also saying that at one point there was a conversation that you were going to have with like Suge Knight and with Puff.
Yeah. And
you kind of thought like, okay, I'll see if there's, some dialogue here.
Yeah.
And where was your mindset on that, and why that did not happen?
Yeah. Well, actually, Jimmy Henchman and Puff came down to Houston, and we had a conversation. And, I was kind of interested in, knowing what had took place before I mediated or spoke on a situation. And during that meeting, I didn't get the clarity that I felt I needed to put my credibility on the line to speak, to be in the middle of it. And, I expressed to them that, I couldn't speak on that with all the confusion and different messages in the air.
So it's easier to just say, you know what, I got to walk away from this one.
Yeah, definitely. If I can't speak in a manner, where I'm comfortable, my reputation on the line, then things can get ugly right there in the meeting.
Yeah.
So,
oh yeah, hell yeah. All right.
I at least want to know I'm standing on solid ground.
I hear you, Jay. We know you from Rap A Lot. We know you from business. We know you as probably someone that could buy our entire lives 10 times over, but we're not gonna concentrate on that. But also just outside of the music business. Like, I have a love for boxing as well. Yeah. And you have a love for boxing. I wanted to speak with you about what got you into the boxing game, and what was your early relationship with Floyd Mayweather?
Well, boxing was always my first love. You know what I mean? I actually was in love with boxing before the music game. I got distracted. It was a good distraction.
Right. Hell yeah. It worked out.
But I made my way back to boxing. And what I done was I built a recreation center in the hood that I'm from, Fifth Ward, that consists of a full court basketball facility, weight room, computer room, as well as a boxing gym. And when I started observing those amateur boxers, I'm like, whoa, I need to get back in the boxing business, because actually at that time I was being attacked by the feds.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
So, I needed some diversity in my life, and I chose boxing. And I remember praying, I called and set up a meeting with Mike Tyson. And I prayed before I went to Las Vegas. I said, Lord, bless me with a champion. I had a habit of praying for everything that I ever wanted to accomplish. You know what I mean? That's why it was no surprise when I accomplished these things, because, I knew I had prayed for them. So I went to Vegas and went into the sparring session observing Mike Tyson. And, my focus on Mike Tyson, and Floyd entered the gym. I didn't really know who he was at the time. And he kept, man, I heard a rap a lot. You know what I mean? He kept, picking at me, saying things. I'm like, man, in my mind, man, let me watch Mike Tyson. You know what I mean?
Right. Go on, little boy.
Yeah. Floyd finally, he gave me a number. He like, hey, man, you want to do something later on? Give me a call. And, after the sparring session, I went to Mike's house. We had a meeting. He got his wife on the phone, told her, I want Jay Prince to be a part of the management team. So we hung out for a while. The next day, I reached out to Mike. His phone was off. You know what I mean? I'm thinking Shelly Finker was his manager at the time, heard that I was in the portrait, disconnect things. So I was left with Floyd Norman. I asked my friend, I said, well, who is this guy right here? He said, it's the 130-pound champion. I'm like, whoa, pray for a champion. Right? So, I got with him within the next week or two, we done a deal. And there goes my boxing career, starting off with a world champion.
Man, what? And you can't say what if, but what if you didn't get that number? What if Finkel didn't probably throw a wrench into the program? Because now it's the $1 billion kid that you saw through everything, and even early on, Jay Prince, you were negotiating the early deals for Floyd as well, correct?
Yeah, most definitely. I helped lay the foundation that Floyd eating off today. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And we strategically done that through a lot of methods that I explained in the book. So yeah, most definitely.
Now, what about the Mike Tyson, Roy Jones Jr. fight? I never heard of this.
Yeah, that was.
Hey man, I can see it in your eyes right now, bro. In your mannerism, like, man,
heard about that one, man.
Can you explain this Roy Jones Jr. Mike Tyson?
Well, me and Roy go way back. Roy is like, somebody I consider a real good friend of mine. And, I was able to convince Roy and Mike Tyson to meet, in Houston. We all went out to the ranch and kind of came up with this brilliant idea for them to fight one another. Mm-hmm. And we went on to capitalize on the Source Awards, where they both, gave out awards. We announced it, to the hip hop culture. And what ultimately happened was Roy wanted to get 25. That was all our ideas originally, to get 25 million apiece guaranteed to both of them. The Malute brothers at the time only wanted to guarantee like 17 million
apiece.
Right. And Roy, wasn't feeling that 17. He was like, they need to pay this 25. And I'm like, man, Roy, if we just move on, that's gonna come plus some. But Roy has always been his own man. You know what I mean? And Roy decided, okay, I'm going to just take this Tarver fight, because Tarver was barking at the time.
And this was Tarver 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is Roy Jones Jr.
Yeah, it's Tarver 2.
Yep.
So he wanted to really deal with that. And, we all know what happened. Before I could sit down good, I was heartbroken, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember the anything. I remember he said, you got any more excuses, Roy, or something like that.
Yeah.
Then they split from the corner.
Yeah.
And then I remember just when, and for those who don't know, it was 25-25 on the table. Then they went down to 17-17. You make that, and he ended up getting knocked out by Tarver. And I mean, like, when that happened, man, Tarver put him to sleep.
Yeah, no, that was a sad night.
I could tell by how you pulled away from the mic and your mannerism. Yeah, because that would have just went into everything else.
Right. Oh, that would have been a huge fight at that time. It was before Mike Tyson had took the loss with Lennox Lewis. It was perfect timing. We just didn't embrace the opportunity.
And you can't count what's not in your pocket, but you gotta miss that was about to be in your pocket.
Yeah, exactly.
Jay Prince, I want to ask you, what is your relationship with Drake? How did that happen early on?
Well, Drake was brought to me by my son, Jazz Prince.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, my son was on tour with Lil Wayne, and I called him. I say, hey, I don't want you just hanging out there with these guys and coming home broke. You know what I mean? Go to Lil Wayne and explain to him that you want to do your own record label and see if he want to do a partnership deal with you. Let him know you got $1 million plus for your own thing. So he took my advice, went to Wayne, and called me back excited. Like, Dad, he said, okay, cool. I said, okay, well, tell him to send somebody here, come here, and let's have a meeting and talk about, the business side of things. And he done that. And at that point, I asked him, I said, well, who gonna be your first artist? And he mentioned this kid named Drake. I said, okay, well, let me hear him. So he played some of Drake for me.
What was your first initial reaction?
I'm like, oh, man. I'm like, wait a minute, man. You like this? I'm like, this dude singing all over the place. I'm like, hold up, man. You like, Daddy, trust me. This is the new sound. This is the new sound. So I'm looking at him, right? So I try to discourage him again.
At any point, do you think like, damn, my son radar is off? He don't have my radar.
The whole while I was thinking that. So I'm like, why this dude here? He said he's buzzing. So all his life, you know, he listened to me on marketing calls, stressed the importance of a buzz since he was like 7, 8 years old. And at that point, you know, I tell everybody my ears stuck up
When
like
he
a
said,
German Shepherd. I say, he buzzing? He said, yeah. I said, where? He said, Canada. My ears went down. So
I'm done.
I called some of the homies in Canada to check, you know, to confirm if this was a real buzz or not. And at that point, you know, they, you know, confirmed that this dude is real. So I got behind him, even though I wasn't really believing it. I got behind him because he was like so convinced that this is the next thing. He was right.
Now, he definitely was right.
Yeah.
Now, how does Drake being with your son and being in Canada, how does the whole Young Money thing get together where Drake is he was like it seemed like it got a little muddy, or am I on the outside looking in?
Yeah, well, of course it got a little muddy, you know what I mean? It got a little muddy because of you know, people not doing business properly. And I can't blame Young Money, you know what I mean? We have to go to Cash Money on that, you know what I mean? They didn't handle their business properly. But, you know, as I sit here today, I'm having conversations with those in the Universal building that's, you know, in high places, and we're moving forward on a good note, you know. So, you know, all on Cash Money, and, you know, them are what I consider the homies. You know what I mean? Cash Money, Master P, you know, Tony Draper, you know, all of these guys, you know, I inspired. You know, they were my students of the game. They inspired me. So to be in a position, you know what I mean, that's business in this matter is not comfortable to me, but by the same token, business have to be taken care of.
Is there anything that says Drake rap a lot, or anything with your son, anything that's officially on paper?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, most definitely. We are a key partner on that. You know, as you can recall, some of the first albums, you know, executive producers and everything like that. But yeah, we in there, and we in there strong.
Where's your relationship? Of course, we know your relationship with Drake is extremely strong now, which was, you know, we had a chance to see that within the last, you know, 45 days, well, last 30 days, when, you know, all the diss records came out, and you were in a position where you felt like Drake had a knockout blow for Pusha T and Kanye. Yeah,
more like a career-ending blow. You know what I mean? Definitely for the homie Kanye, which, you know, we not often to, you know what I mean, affecting one's livelihood like that. And that was the only place to go, you know, after getting so personal and crossing these different lines where music was concerned. So, of course, you know what I mean, I have pretty good thinking ability. And I had to come in and say, hey, man, you know, we ain't gonna go there.
Did you hear Pusha T's the story of Adidon? Did you hear that, or did Drake or somebody bring that to your attention? Were you listening to any of that early?
Yeah, I heard the song.
What bothered you the most?
Well, the pieces that bothered me the most was the disrespect for his mother, the disrespect for his father, and then it went on to a man that's dying, you know what I mean, with an illness. You know, that's crossing the line where music is concerned. I love a good battle. You know what I mean? You just kept it, you know, between me and you, you know, that's cool. But to go to that extreme, yeah, that bothered me.
Did you ever get a chance to talk with Pusha? I know you spoke with Kanye. Yeah. Of course, you spoke with Drake. Did you ever get a chance to speak with Pusha T as well?
No, I never had that opportunity.
In your conversation, without giving up, because I saw that Kanye put out something, we're paraphrasing that, you know, he was never into beef. The beef is over, so on and so forth. Was that a part of your conversation with him?
Yeah, most definitely. Kanye is like super cool with Mike Dean. Mike Dean come from Houston. He come from my camp. You know what I mean? So I got a call from Kanye, and Kanye, you know, he told me, I'm a family man. You know what I mean? I don't want this. So I considered all of that, you know what I mean, in my decision making, and it was the right decision to make.
Do you call Drake, or does Drake call you, or do you summons him to the ranch?
No, me and Drake talk a lot. You know what I mean? So it was a conversation where, after I analyzed everything, I called him. I initiated it. And he wasn't trying to hear it in the beginning, but, eventually he has enough respect for me where that overpowered his will, and here we are.
How did you guys get into the conversation of what he had that was still in note form? Because if you guys were on the phone, were you like, well, what you got? What are you going to say?
Yeah. Well, the thing is, I'm with Drake, right? Mm-hmm. So if I'm with a person, then, when it's wartime, then I'm going to be on the battlefield or involved to a certain extent as well. And, when you have that kind of access, you communicate, you know what I mean? And things was communicated to me that was too raw.
Mm-hmm. Will he say something on this upcoming album, you think, or do you think he'll hold back?
Yeah, no, I think he's going to hold back. You know what I mean? He not going to deal with that because I never witnessed him giving me his word about something and doing something opposite.
What about like the recent promos? One went out that said Fashion Week is more your thing than mine. And a lot of people are saying that those are shots at Kanye. Kanye had just been at Fashion Week, and we all know that he attends that pretty often. Yeah,
I mean, people going to try to stir things, you know what I mean? It's in their nature. So my great-grandmother, 114 years old, gave me some game like years ago.
What'd she say?
She said, people going to say what they want to say. She said, you just don't let it be so.
I heard that.
Yeah, I've been trying to live that kind of.
And without there's got to be probably a couple things just as a man that he's going to say without saying all the ingredients. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But one thing I could say is the conversation that you did have with Drake, I totally believe that he had something.
Yeah.
And I totally believe he tucked that away because Jay Prince was on the phone with him.
Yeah.
And now that we fast forward to where we're sitting at today, a lot of that is already in the wind. You know what I'm saying? If we would have gotten into, as you say, the pig pen and, it would have just been a horrible tennis match that we were all waiting to sit back and just watch these brothers take each other apart.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's the thing. You know what I mean? Somebody with some sense have to speak sometimes when you see Biggie in a Tupac situation brawling all over again. You know what I mean? Because when you cross those lines, that's where it go. You know what I mean? Eventually, we're going to run into one another. You know what I mean? Things, your friends, our friends, it's going to get ugly somewhere down the line. So, unplugging it was the right thing to do.
When was your last conversation with Drake?
A few days ago.
Do you have to nod back to him like, remember?
No.
All right.
No, we're looking forward to this album.
I heard
Did you hear it already, obviously?
Some of it.
You got it in your phone?
Is it a double album?
Oh, okay.
No,
A
that's
and B?
what I hear.
That's what you hear. Okay.
Yeah.
Right. You got it in your
Side A,
phone,
side
huh?
B.
Go ahead and play one for us.
No,
you got anything I can take and bootleg in Japan?
No.
All right.
Give us something a little early. Come on.
All right. Look me in the eyes, Jay Prince, and tell me you don't have it on you.
I don't.
Not one song.
Not one.
Oh.
She got it, huh?
Right. Can I dance to it?
Yeah. What's one of the titles? That
God's Plan.
Okay, I see where you're going.
He's smart.
Boy, I see you going, man.
God's Plan.
You do that sarcasm again, I'm going to go over there and I'm going to slap him. All right? I'm going to slap the homie over there. All righty. Jay Prince, we've been seeing a lot with the younger end. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of gang banging going on in music right now. There's a lot of facial tattoos there. What do you feel about just the young now? Because at one point, Rap-A-Lot was young. Yeah. You were young. The world was looking at you guys, and us a certain way.
Yeah. No, I'm excited about the new young movement that's going on. I think there are more content conscious, owning content conscious than ever before. So I love the movement that's taking place. I just think that some balance need to take place with the movement. pill popping. You know what I mean? Just big picture thinking and wrapped around some respect.
If there was some advice that you can give them, like one kind of general, like, hey, always keep this in mind, what do you think it is that you would tell them?
I would tell them to find them an OG. You know what I mean? Find them an OG, a credible OG that can enlighten them on things and replace that OG for the IG.
Oh, I heard that.
I like
That's a good one.
Man, have you said that anywhere else?
Maybe.
I was gonna take it. That Smooth's gonna cut that out the
really
interview.
like that.
Yeah, Smooth's gonna cut that out the interview, man. I definitely. But then it's probably somewhere else. And you know, this internet, boy, this internet, it wins. It wins. But even now, I see that there is a detachment on both sides, where the older heads aren't embracing the young, and then the young aren't embracing the older heads, and I'm starting to see just a little bit more of what just the disrespect that's a little bit uncomfortable for me. When you see some of the young coming out, you know, saying words about Biggie or Pac or you know, or saying things against blueprints
Snoop.
that's going down. Snoop, yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's just some things that I felt to me are untouchable. The same way when you were growing up or you were starting something, you didn't make it a game plan to try to erase what was already there or spit on something.
Right.
You know, do you feel like you're starting to see a little bit more of that, Jay Prince?
Yeah, you know, and I think it always existed to a certain extent, but I believe there's a solution to that. You know what I mean? And part of it is, you know, our movement down in Houston in the South, I make the young police the young. You know what I mean? It's like consequences and different things when they get out of line with OGs and different things like that. So it has to be some real wise balance, and they'll respect it if it's delivered properly.
Yeah, the message and the messenger has got to
Right.
be. What about with like the Tekashi 6ix9ines of the world that do come out and say, I don't need no pass to come in, and you know what I'm saying? Like, what do you feel about that blatant disrespect?
Yeah, I mean, I believe if a man keep campaigning, he gonna get elected. You know what I mean? Somewhere down the line, and that's a guy that love the campaign. Eventually, you know what I mean, he gonna get what he asking for, and it may not be a pretty picture. So, you know, I also believe life and death is in the tongue. You know what I mean? You can say certain things and live, and say certain things and die. And I think the youth have to really like value that more than they probably do.
And everybody isn't on the same page with you. Whatever page you're on, somebody's on a different page. You know what I'm saying? And what you feel like you can get away with, somebody else is like, okay, that's just enough right there.
Yeah.
That's just enough, man. And then we do start to see certain things with our young cats too, like XXX Tentacion, where you see that we continuing to, you know, mow down our own, bro. You know what I'm saying? When we had what I felt like somebody that was turning a corner as well.
Yeah.
And you've seen this throughout your career too, where there's a gone too soon.
Yeah.
What do you feel about just all the violence that continues to be, and it's not like it's really over us like it was, but it continues to be a part of our culture.
I think I don't think that's gonna go nowhere. First of all, I think it always been here before us. It's gonna be here with us. It's gonna be there after we leave. But I think there have to be preparation to protect yourself from those situations. And you know, I hate the brother got caught out there like that. You know, when you become successful on these different levels, you have to. That's part of what I call getting with an OG, somebody who know the laws of the land, other than the police, because you ain't gonna have them with you 24/7. So, you know, with your movement, you have to move a certain way. You know what I mean? You have to move a way where you know you're gonna make it home to your family at the end of the night. And you know, I see a lot of these guys go to strip clubs and blow all of that money, you know what I mean, in a place that's meaningless to a certain extent versus putting it on their own ass.
I heard that.
Yeah.
Jay Prince, I want you, without my asking, I'm going to play like I didn't ask, invite us out to the ranch.
Please.
Hey, man, it'd be a pleasure and honor.
To what?
Aw.
To the ranch.
Oh, would you invited us?
Yeah.
Oh, man, yeah.
Sure.
I would. How
Yeah.
many bedrooms are on this ranch, man? Probably some
about-
big ass bedrooms here.
It's so many houses on the ranch, but it's
Many
like
Oh, that's how you did. Oh, that's how you did
Yeah.
your
Okay.
ranch. Oh, okay. Yeah.
okay.
Oh, okay. So you put like many houses on your ranch. Yeah. Because your ranch is probably different than mine.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying? So,
Tell 'em.
how many houses do you have on your ranch?
like 5.
5 houses. Now, all of them have bathrooms.
Yeah,
Oh, okay. So they're real houses. They got kitchens.
yeah,
Do each one of them have a driveway?
yeah.
Ooh.
Washer and
Alrighty.
dryer?
How? Yeah, washer and dryer in each one of them.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wi-Fi?
Yeah, Wi-Fi.
It's
I don't
important.
know about that.
Okay,
Oh,
alrighty.
okay.
Wi-Fi,
Okay,
so-
alrighty.
I like that.
Man, you need to step up in
I'm
the
gonna bring my
range.
journal then. I'm gonna bring my journal.
You need to
I like that.
Oh, so you like to
Could
get
really
away too. You
escape.
like to get away from it as
I
well.
love tranquility.
You still have horses?
Yeah,
How many horses do you have?
about 20.
What?
Yeah, see, I'm not gonna ride no horse,
20
man. I was on
horses?
vacation and one bucked me off in front of my wife and kids.
But this will be a different horse.
You can walk.
You gotta get back
Yeah,
on.
yeah. Oh, you know what? I'm
I'll
good
get
too.
on
I'll
one.
take the pictures next to the horse. You know what I'm saying?
Do
Like,
that.
or like I'm about to get on one of them, man. So 5 houses
Yeah,
on. Is that a
20
picture of the
horses.
ranch she showed you? Oh,
Am I allowed
okay.
to see this?
No,
He has some other properties, some other bigger properties apparently that you could ask about.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
What else you got?
I know you got a compound, right?
What do you have?
yeah, definitely a compound. You know, everywhere we back in the day when I started rap a lot, they would kick us out of all their buildings.
As I would have too, but go ahead.
Yeah, so we had to buy our own, and I named that the compound.
And how many squares is that?
I think about 20-some thousand.
Oh my
Yeah,
goodness.
close
Okay.
to 30,000.
So a country,
Yeah.
right?
It's a building.
Oh.
Have you ever like said goodbye to a friend of yours at the ranch and they was like, all right, James, we'll see you. And then 3 days later they still there? Like they just lost on the property or
Well, my manager, he's there all the time.
do you know he's there?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Now if we went there and you invited us, would you know if we really left? Not really though.
Well,
Shaking her head.
yeah.
She's like, nope.
it's hard to see all of that,
Yeah.
unless I had a drone.
Yeah. What does
Gotta
someone
get you a
do
drone then.
with 1,000 acres?
So big.
Man, you know, you walk it,
No, you don't.
you enjoy it, you run it. You know what I mean?
So how do you get around the property?
on
you
a
gotta drive-
four-wheeler
Yeah.
Or one of the horses, huh?
Yeah, four-wheeler
sounds fun.
horses,
That sounds
walk.
like a lot of fun.
Yeah, bicycle.
Do you have a merry-go-round there or
Nah,
no? You have a movie theater in your house?
no.
Why?
I just watch TV on the big screen. It's not a movie theater, but it get the job done.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah.
You don't call it a movie theater, huh? What do you call it? A screening room? The Prince room? What do you call it?
He's gonna go back to his Mexican paleta look.
So I'm going to tell you, man, I do want to come out there.
Okay.
I want you to host
like
us,
the
though.
horses,
You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
You have a chef at the ranch?
Oh,
Because if not, I can cook.
we can.
Is there a pool?
However you want it.
Lake?
Alrighty.
Yeah.
Alrighty.
It's
And
a pool
then,
and a lake.
What? There's a pool
Yeah.
and a lake.
Yeah.
man, I remember another time years ago, we went to Scarface crib. And he had a lake too. And I'm like, man, what the hell? You know what I'm saying? Like, I do have a swimming pool. It's not a big one, but I do have a swimming pool at the crib. You know what I'm saying? So if you ever want to come by and take a dip in my pool.
Yeah.
Now, do you have fish in your lake?
Oh yeah.
And we can fish and bring the fish out?
Oh, yeah.
So we got a fish fry going on there.
yeah.
You have fish in your lake right now?
Oh yeah.
I
Hey,
really
man, the
wanna go
things
now.
that you got used to is fucking me up right now. I'm gonna tell you straight up, bro. Like you used to this, and he like, yeah. Everything we asked, he got there. Like, yeah.
got
they
that?
Yeah. You have a lake? Oh yeah.
You got fish?
He was looking like, what ranch doesn't have a lake? Alrighty, so this is what I want you to do, man. We're gonna host it. We want you to host us. We're gonna land. You know what I'm saying? Send us transportation.
Yeah.
Black cars only, please.
Oh yeah. What?
Black cars
Yeah,
only
black
with
car. And
tinted
when we
windows.
get there, let us all stay in a separate house.
Yeah, yeah.
I had gastric bypass. My shit smells very bad.
Right.
So me and my wife gonna have to be in one, and I gotta bring the queen and the kids. You know what I'm saying? No, you know what? I'd rather not because they think I'm doing well. I don't want them to see another man doing better than me. All right, yeah. So we'll stop right there. But like have like some neighborhood robes when we get there.
Yeah.
Like slippers. You know what I'm saying? Assign us each a horse.
Yeah.
Right.
You know,
I
like
love to ride horses.
Yeah, you ride horses. You know, and a good chef. You know what I'm saying? I don't drink, but man, I do a cranberry juice. You know what I'm saying? I do
on the rocks.
On the rocks, man.
That'd be nice.
Let's set this up. I know you book touring right now, but let's try to set this up, man, for like 4 or 5 days from now.
Whenever you're ready.
All right, I'm ready now.
Yeah, let's do it.
Can we go now?
We can go.
You're not ready. You're not ready.
Tomorrow.
You
not
get
ready.
We need a day to pack our
Tomorrow.
bags.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. We need a date. But you know what I enjoyed about the book too is that you said you wake up when all the sleep is off of you.
Oh
Yeah.
gosh, I love. Oh my god, I'm so jealous.
Man,
That's when I get up.
what does that mean, or what does
so
that feel
peaceful.
like?
Well, you know what? That came from like when I was a kid. I used to walk to school, and my worst part about school was waking up in the morning. I never liked waking up in the morning. So I would walk to school and look at the dogs, the cats, the birds. I'm like, oh man, they at peace. They sleep all day. They relax. I got jealous of them. So in my mind, I say one day I want to create a lifestyle where I can just wake up when all the sleep is out of my head. You know what I mean? Like a natural wake up without being interrupted. And
it's work. It's not like it's a lazy sleep where it's like, oh, I'm not going in today. I'm not going in today.
Yeah.
But when I read that, I was like, that sounds amazing.
Yeah.
Because I can go to sleep and wake up when all the sleep is out of my head. But all the work could be out of my head and all the money would be out of my head. You know what I'm saying? All the job and title would be out of my head. Like, it's a whole different world. What, like, you got up early today. What's early for you?
Today, like 8.
Is the
7.
sleep out of your head? Or you just, now you grind in a different way right now?
I'm cool right now.
I heard
I'm
that.
cool because I'm in work mode. And I can do that a lot of the time. But my lifestyle overall have to be moving like I want to move.
You don't like drama either, huh?
Not like peace.
I heard that.
I'm in love with it.
Man, do you have like a waterfall at the crib too? Do you meditate?
I do. Yeah, I do meditate. I think that's every place I have, I build it around like tranquility.
I caught
and
what
that
you said too.
meditation thing.
I caught what you just said.
Yeah.
I caught what you said. Every place I have.
Every place I have.
Right.
So I love that.
Do you have homes in different places?
Yeah.
Like, so you can land and not even take luggage and be like, man, do you have an LA home?
No.
I was about to say
you know
this-
what? Actually, I
This
do.
motherfucker forgot he had an LA home. You forgot you had an LA home?
For you.
Oh my god.
You know what I'm saying? Hey, dude, he really was like, nah, wait, hold on, damn, I do.
Yeah, actually, I do.
Right. Alrighty now. Is the LA home anywhere near here?
Willing Hills.
I'll go take care of it for you.
Who's over
I don't
there?
even know it's there.
My son there.
Damn. Does it gotta be there?
Sometimes.
I'll stack it up
Hey,
with
dude.
Mexican paletas for you.
When you forget you have an LA home, you about to really get in the car and he gonna be like, man, don't I have one in Georgia? Oh, what the hell? Like, think about all the properties. We gonna come out to see you at the ranch, you know, and whatever you want to do. If you want to, hang out with us, if we gonna meditate,
Or
Ride
maybe we can go to the island.
What?
Yeah, I heard you had an island.
Wow.
Yeah.
Where's
Man,
that?
Now,
at?
is the island? Is it really an island? Because I have what I call an island, but it's really an island. You know what I'm saying? It's just like at my crib. I say, hey, island. You know, so where's the island at?
In Belize.
Belize is getting really expensive to visit.
Not if we have your own island.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I'm pretty sure you can make us a good rate.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So what's on your island?
It's like 3 villas right now.
Is anybody
Oh,
there
yeah.
now?
The caretaker.
An island
Yeah.
in Belize. When was the last time you went there?
Oh, when is the last time I've been? What, maybe a couple months ago?
How long were you there?
Probably a week.
And you just woke up when all the sleep was out your head?
You got to do that.
We should
Alrighty.
start at the island and then go to the ranch.
Is there anything else that I need to feel bad about?
No, only if you don't buy the art and science.
Is this the island here? Let me see.
Yeah. I still haven't picked my honeymoon spot. So
Let me see.
I could always.
I heard there's 2.
I still want
Hey, dude, I can't even pass that down. I can't even use that as motivation. Yeah, that was borderline depressing. Like at some point I'd be motivated by it, but at the moment, oh, that's like that's kind of like
that looks like peace
hey,
and
dude,
tranquility.
I'm gonna tell you, James, I'm low key hating on you right now.
That's okay.
Like low key, but like out of love.
Yeah.
But just
These villas are huge, first of all, and there's solar panels on them.
yeah, that's when.
Like, yeah.
Alrighty.
Yeah.
Well, I know
Okay.
I'm
That's good
vacationing.
for
And
And
there's jet skis here. There's no horses.
yeah. And something's in the water already.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Well, that's cool, brother. You know what I'm saying? Over
Well,
here
we
on
have a
this.
place to stay and believe.
Yeah, over here on this hard work, dedication. You know what I'm saying?
2 islands.
Yeah, there's 2 islands.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I'm done with him.
Okay, there's Belize, but there's 2 islands in Belize, right?
Right.
He's
Alrighty.
just bragging now. Big, I can't
All right.
take
Well, we
this.
we gonna
we
get
gotta
you.
go. We gotta go to the ranch.
I've heard
go
enough. We gonna
to
get
the
you out of
island.
here, bro. I definitely want to thank you for coming into the neighborhood. The art and science of respect. Jay Prince, Mr. James Prince in the neighborhood, man. It was a pleasure to have you in the neighborhood, bro,
Yeah,
and
appreciate
very,
y'all
very
having me.
motivating, man.
thanks,
Very
man.
motivating. And please make sure you come back.
Hey.
All righty,
Yeah.
and
see
bear
you at the
gifts
ranch.
next time.
All right.
All right. I don't know what that shirt is, but it looked very expensive too.
The buttons are really shiny. I like them.
So what now?
The buttons are shiny.
Yeah, that's
I
when
like
you know.
Robert Graham.
Who?
Robert Graham.
The minister?
I guess.
I don't know.
They're like, no, let's go.
Hey man, Amir, get him out of here.
okay.
All righty, man. Big Boys Neighborhood.
boy.